Hi, this is Kristen here. Welcome to another process video. And today I'm working on 30 Days of Sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life. This is series 19 and I am working on day number 3. And this sketch was by Nicole Leatherby. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. So I decided to use 49 to Market's Nature Haven. There will be a playlist that I'll link down below for others who are posting videos on YouTube. There's also a Facebook group. So I'll include that information down below so you can go check out what other people are creating. And I ended up struggling with this layout. I think, so I was dead set on using Nature's Haven because I had bought it probably about a month ago and hadn't had a chance to really sit down and do a layout with it. I knew that there were fences in the laser cut part of the collection. However, it wasn't like a full fence. And then you'll see here in a moment, kind of, I was running into an issue with, in the sketch, the fence post is at the bottom of the page. And what I was having problems with was I didn't want to cover up the artwork on the papers that I was picking out. So I started off with this paper here and thought that this was what I was going to use. So I didn't want to cover up the artwork on the bottom because I think it's really pretty. So I obviously want to kind of center my pictures and my ephemera into the center of this page where it's a little bit more blank. However, I felt like every time I put the fence down, no matter how I put it down, it looked like it was floating. And so that was kind of the issue I was running into. Now I could have followed the sketch more closely and put it down at the bottom, but then I felt like the fence was away from kind of my pictures and all that. So I really struggled with this one. So you'll see me playing around here with how do I position this fence? Do I do it this way? And I'm like, okay, well, let me go back to my papers and see if there's a better paper for it. So I had picked this paper because I was going to essentially use the flower bunch at the top as kind of my cluster instead of the clouds and the sun. That would kind of take the place of that. So I'm kind of going through my papers here trying to decide, is there something different? So again, same problem. I'm putting it here and it just looks like it's floating on the page. So I go back to my original page because I really like this one. There was a rub-on that had, it was a fence post, so that I pulled that out. I'm like, maybe I can make that work with this. So it just was one of those sketches that was just kind of kicking my butt. You know how sometimes there's just layouts that you just struggle with it. I had also considered pulling out a different collection and going that route, but I really wanted to use Nature's Haven, so I was pretty set on it. I could have maybe gone on my Cricut and did a cut file fence or something like that, but honestly I wanted to use the pieces that I have in my collection. So I do like the fence post like this because obviously then it looks open. How I end up, so the layout ends up, it totally does not end up that way. And now looking back at it, I really wish I had remembered how I had the fence because I think it looks visually more appealing this way, but it doesn't end up this way. So, and now knowing it, looking back at the video and seeing how I originally had the fence post set up, I was like, oh, I really wish I had it set up this way, but oh well. It's only I would know. Well, I guess now you know because you're watching the video, but so in the sketch it has brick. Right, so I was thinking, okay, well, maybe I can make this fence post work here, and I'll pull in some of this gingham pattern as kind of in replacement of the brick. So that would be kind of my brick pattern. And I didn't like that. So here is essentially kind of the design I decided to go with. So I decided to move the fence post up, and you can see how I've got it rearranged. I really wish I would have had it the original way so that the fence post on the left over on the right and the one on the right over on the left. But this is how it ends up getting put in there. And I'm happy with it, but now I'm looking at it and ooh, that really bothers me. Although I do cover up quite a bit of it, so it's not like as obvious, I guess. So I'm going to pull in some different pieces here. Some of it's die cut, so that big piece I put up on the top left, that is a die cut piece. I think this little banner is die cut. The little wagon is laser cut. The fence post was laser cut. And so I'm really kind of like starting to veer away from the sketch because visually I couldn't make it work to my liking based strictly on how the sketch was. And so I feel like that's one thing that's nice about sketches is you can follow it as closely as you want, or you can pull elements from it that you really like. And so at this point, to make it work with Nature's Haven and kind of the pictures I was going to document, I kind of just decided to go with kind of elements, I guess, of the sketch. I pull in some tickets, so that's on the bottom right. This little mouse here and this heart, those were in the die cut pack, but they will end up in a different spot. So, and the pictures I'm documenting are of my kids picking tomatoes. I know this is all strawberries, but I'm like, red tomatoes, close enough. They're in a garden. We've tried to grow strawberries a couple of times in our garden. This is actually at my in-laws' garden, and every time we try to grow strawberries, like the fruit is usually tiny and it doesn't have a lot of flavor. So so we've kind of given up on trying to grow our own strawberries. And so I just wanted to go ahead and document the pictures of them picking the tomatoes. I really like this banner piece that was in the laser cut. I will pull in the other banner piece just to see if I like it better. So there was one that, the one that's on there now was more red, and then there was like a lighter pink one. So that's, and I definitely decided I like the bright red one. And visually, this makes more sense to me. Like, I really like how this is looking. I feel like it doesn't look like anything's hanging off the page. Like, it feels like it's well contained. And that was kind of what I was falling into, was the fact that I felt like the fence didn't, like, it wasn't visually making sense where I was putting it. And I wasn't sure how I was going to work it around with the pictures. So I did try to stick to doing like 3 smaller pictures, like in the sketch. So, and then I'm going to add this little fox in, since that's my middle son's spirit animal. And this collection had these cute little mice. So there's one. I end up putting a second one on this page. They are just so stinking cute. I just love it. 49 Market doesn't usually have like a lot of animated, or not animated, animals, like, you know, graphics. And so, but I really enjoyed this because I really felt like they were really well done. They looked cute, but they weren't so cutesy that they didn't look realistic too, you know. So I just really enjoyed that. This is a puffy sticker, and it says everything grows better with love. I do end up using that, my de-sticky tool, so you see that up in the left-hand corner. I'm grabbing it now. That actually helps. It's got like powder in it that helps to keep your stickers from being sticky. Which I know it seems counterintuitive to do that, but a lot of time I will do that as I'm building a layout together and I don't want it to, like, you know, to stick. I end up switching those 2 pictures of my daughter and my son because obviously that love part, that's where I wanted the title to be. And I'm not sure even where the title was in the original sketch because I've gone so far off of it now. But it was going to hang over I felt like too much into her picture. So that's why I switched those 2 pictures around. And then I'm pulling in some flower pieces from the die cut, or from the laser. I always want to say die cut, laser cuts. And I really like that white cluster, but then I found 2 pieces that look just like this one I just pulled in. And I decided I really like how that looks, and so I will switch that out. This is such a pretty collection. Although I feel like anything 49 Market comes out with is always really pretty. I really love all of it. So this is from the laser cut. So I wanted to get a little bit more green worked in here since there was a lot of green in the pictures, a little bit of green in the papers and kind of the florals and all that, but I wanted to just get a little bit more green. So I will pull on 3 green fern pieces, and I'll do them kind of in a visual triangle here. And then there was like a little bit of yellow in this, but I wanted to work in a little bit more yellow. Plus my middle son, he loves dandelions, like he'll go out and pick dandelions. And so I really like the dandelion laser cuts. So I decided I wanted to get that in so I could get 3 of them on here as well, just to pull in a little bit more yellow. That little crate piece, I forgot to talk about that. So the little crate piece on the right hand side, that actually had like a little slit cut in it where you could put some laser cut elements in there. So I actually popped out 3 strawberries and you can tuck them in there. So kind of reminded me of Flower Emporium. They had kind of something similar to that where it was like a bucket. And it had like a little slit in it to where you could put flowers in there from your laser cut elements. So that was kind of a cool feature. And then I'm going to pull in some rub-ons here, some yellow, just to get a little bit more yellow worked on this layout. And so here I've gone ahead and gotten everything glued down. Got the rub-ons put on, and I think this turned out really cute. Granted, it veered away pretty heavily from the original sketch, but it was inspired by the sketch, so that's the important thing. And here are a couple close-up shots. I really appreciate you for coming by to watch another process video.